If the steady drumbeat of news about violence and heartbreak in the Middle East is making you feel hopeless, you're not alone. But as Seth Doane discovered, a group of Israelis and Palestinians has come together, face to face, with one goal in common: peace.
He's an engineer with a master's degree, but this is Eli Avidor's life's work now.
Is this how you thought you'd be spending your retirement?
I'll tell you, I do something I love. I really think it's important.
The 73-year-old Israeli drives 3 hours from Tel Aviv every week to accompany Palestinian sheep herders in the West Bank. His real value to them, though, is not as a laborer.
You standing here in your jeans and t-shirt, you're a deterrent?
I'm a deterrent. I'm a deterrent.
You have power simply because of your passport, being Israeli.
Sure.
He's trying to stop the intimidation from increasingly violent Israeli settlers.
You see the car there? They burnt it.
By documenting their aggression and calling authorities as the settlers plant this flag ever closer.
This is a war crime. We occupied this land. They tried to move the community out to the big villages so Israel can annex this area without the local people. I'm trying to stop it.
B'Tselem, an Israeli human rights group, reports incidents of extremist settlers tormenting Palestinians are on the rise.
He's there in order to drive all these people away.
Avidor, a war veteran, is fighting a different sort of battle today, and he feels just as patriotic wearing this uniform, a t-shirt for Combatants for Peace, which has a straightforward goal.
To spread the word that the other side is human, because you have to dehumanize in order to kill someone.
Formed 18 years ago, the group began bringing together former combatants, former enemies, emphasizing community building and the all too rare approaches of dialogue and understanding.
I learn about the Palestinians. I tell them my story, because what do they know? They meet violent settlers and they meet soldiers. That's the Israelis they know.
I grew up just imagining the Israelis or the Jewish as a one person who has holding a gun and just want to take everything that I have.
Tarek Sadir joined from the Palestinian side with his uncle Ahmed Al-Halou, who says his own fear and hatred of Israelis sparked desire for revenge.
I start to create it myself to be a strong fighter.
By the time he was 10, Al-Halou says he was burning tires and throwing rocks.
What do you say to foreigners who look at kids throwing rocks, being violent, and say, what a violent culture?
Listen, we are not violent people, but our life forced us to be like this.
As a teen, he joined Hamas.
Did you ever think about picking up weapons, arms?
Maybe in that time, yeah. Maybe if I got a chance to be a suicide bombing, maybe I will agree to yes.
You would have been a suicide bomber?
Yeah.
But over time, he was exposed to different ways of thinking among other Palestinians. While the Oslo Peace Accords were being signed.
Our goal is to have a state, a Palestinian state.
Why do you think Combatants for Peace is the way toward that goal?
Because I believe in non-violence way, and I believe it is the only way.
Throwing rocks or burning a tire will not do anything, will not fix it. It's just a way just to show your anger.
How did your anger play out?
It's still like in a small cage inside me. Things that happening in Gaza, like all my bodies keep burning from inside.
They tell us they've lost 60 family members in Israel's assault on Gaza, which has killed more than 35,000 Palestinians. The UN figures about half are women and children.
How can you continue to want to have these conversations with Israelis?
I am sure that there is many Israelis, they against the war, they against the occupation. I'm working with them.
You realize that we are both humans. We have the same needs and feelings. So I said, if I go to fight them, they will fight me back. And if I fight them back and they will fight me back, I will fight them back, it will just be only violence. But if we talk to each other, they will hear me and they will feel me, give me empathy.
That evening, Israelis joined Palestinians here in the West Bank to watch a ceremony recognizing the Nakba, the displacement of 700,000 Palestinians in 1948 during the creation of the Israeli state. Israeli Norit Badash came from Beersheva. Why make a 2-hour trip to come here?
It's like my second family. This is the only place that gives me hope.
I'd imagine there are a number of Israelis who would say it's a pretty audacious thing for an Israeli to commemorate the Nakba.
We are an Israeli-Palestinian group. That's their story. This is our story. We share the stories.
He invited us to join him at a military cemetery in Tel Aviv on Israel's Memorial Day.
Every grave is a soldier.
Especially solemn this year in the wake of the October 7th massacre, when 1,200 people were murdered and 251 taken hostage.
One of the strongest connections to Israel is through Shuki and through the love of the country.
Shuki Viater was his friend and commander, killed during the 1973 Yom Kippur War.
Every some years, we have new fallen, new conflict, new dead, the violence keep on, and that's why I'm trying to work with the other side, to find a solution without violence.
A siren sounds each Memorial Day, and for 2 minutes, much of Israel halts to reflect on lives lost. Combatants for Peace stages its own commemoration on this day, recognizing the loss on both sides. Last year, 15,000 people attended. This year's event was smaller due to the war.
It's like medicine, these moments.
That's where we met Benny, who did not want us to share his last name. He was a soldier in the Israel Defense Forces who had a realization after barging into a Palestinian family's home during a raid.
They were not violent. They were just scared. We got out and I was sat behind this big rock and thinking, wow, now I've been the one who caused the trauma. I've been the one who caused the pain. We don't exist for each other.
That introspection was part of what pushed him to join this group. That and the realization he did not know much about this parallel world.
Growing up, I actually haven't heard the word Palestinians. I didn't know who they are.
You're an Israeli. You share the land.
We did heard a lot about Arabs are enemies. Syria, it's Lebanon, Palestinians. I had no idea there was millions of people there.
How much has October 7th changed the landscape?
A lot of new trauma came. Some people lost their faith.
Faith in
this work. They were so shocked and scared. They felt like, wow, all I did and for what? Just more pain came out.
But for some, it has strengthened resolve.
I cannot play on the beach, enjoying my life, when I know what is happening in the occupied areas under my name, my taxes. Even if the effect is minimal, I feel I have to do it. This is a purpose.
Eli Avidor found purpose out here among the Palestinian shepherds and maintains hope, knowing through history humankind has emerged from the darkest periods.
This is inhuman, to kill 40,000 people. How can we look at the mirror? But you know, there was World War II. We got over it. 100 years war between France and Germany. Apartheid in South Africa. There's hope and things can change.
He's found his own practical way of combating injustice with empathy.
I'm not doing it for the Palestinians. Has to be clear. My love is to my country, but I know that my country is in trouble and in pain, and we have to get out of it.
And you see the way out is through dialogue with Palestinians?
That's exactly it. I really feel strong that I have to do it for my own sake, for my country, for my family, for my people.